A lone cop, scarred by war, faces a relentless phantom. A ghostly muscle car born from a tragic wreck, its blood-red lights stalking him through suffocating fog. Its chilling whisper cuts deeper than steel. You can't outrun what you've lost. What haunting truth drives this supernatural hunter? Dare to uncover the terror that waits in the mist. Under a suffocating blanket of thick fog, the deserted backroads of the countryside stretch endlessly before Carl, a weathered veteran cop whose war scars tell tales of a razor-sharp military past. He's not new to danger. Combat honed him into a man who stares down threats without blinking. But tonight, something shifts in the air, something that hums with a menace he's never faced before. The engine's guttural roar cuts through the silence first, low and menacing, like a predator stalking prey. It's no ordinary vehicle speeding through the mist. This is the Ghost Car Spirit, an ancient force born from a tragic wreck. Fueled by a vengeance so fierce, it twists a rusted muscle car into a supernatural killing machine. It doesn't just chase its victims, it hunts them with a cunning that chills the blood, flickering in and out of sight like a phantom along the highway's bends. Carl grips the steering wheel of his patrol car tighter, his jaw set firm. He's not the kind to run from a fight. That engine's growl isn't just a sound, it's a dare, a personal taunt echoing through the night. He floors the gas, tires chewing gravel, determined to meet this thing head-on. But this isn't a chase. He can win with speed or grit alone. The car defies everything he knows. It smashes through guardrails like they're paper, shrugs off bullets like raindrops, and somehow anticipates his every turn before he even makes it. Red lights flash in his rearview mirror, sharp and bloody, pulsing like a heartbeat. Then comes the voice, a whisper slicing through the static of his radio, cold as ice. You can't outrun what you've already lost. His pulse quickens, but he shakes it off. He's faced worse in war, or so he tells himself. The night unravels fast, morphing from a routine patrol into something raw and relentless. This isn't about squealing tires or cheap thrills. Carl's mind kicks into overdrive, pulling from years of battlefield instincts. He rigs a trap with flares, their sizzling glow lighting up the fog in eerie orange, hoping to blind or slow the beast. It doesn't work. The car barrels through, unscathed, its headlights glaring like eyes that see right through him. He swerves onto a rugged side road, tires bouncing over rocks, trying to outmaneuver it with tactics he once used against enemy convoys. For a moment, he thinks he's gained ground, but then it's there again, emerging from the mist like it's part of it. Always one step ahead, that whisper on the radio lingers in his head, gnawing at him. What has he lost? The words stir something buried deep, a memory he's locked away so tight he can't even name it. The car's presence isn't just physical, it's creeping into his thoughts, flashing images he doesn't recognize but feels. In his gut, a screech of metal, a scream swallowed by the night, a weight he's carried without knowing why. He grits his teeth and pushes the thought aside. Focus, he tells himself. Survive first, figure it out later. But the more he drives, the more those visions bleed into the edges of his sight. A crumpled car, a face he can't place, blood on asphalt. Is this thing after revenge, or is it tethered to him in some way he can't yet grasp? He's not just running on instinct now, he's fighting a war. Carl digs into his past, recalling a grizzled war buddy who once rambled about spirits and rituals over a flickering campfire. The guy swore he'd driven off something dark with salt and a muttered prayer. Desperate, Carl grabs a canister of road salt from his trunk, scatters it across the pavement in a jagged line, and shouts half-remembered words into the wind. The car slows, its engine sputtering like it's choking, and for a fleeting second, he thinks he's cracked it. Then it roars back to life, louder, angrier, the salt sizzling beneath its tires as it charges straight for him. He dives out of the way, rolling into the dirt, breath ragged. This isn't just a machine, it's alive or something close to it, and it's toying with him. Hey, real quick, how intense is this chase getting? That whisper on the radio, you can't outrun what you've already lost. It's haunting, right? What do you think it means for Carl? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I'm dying to hear your theories. And if you're hooked on this supernatural showdown, smash that like button and hit subscribe. We're only halfway through. And trust me, the ghost car spirit's got more tricks up its sleeve. Let's keep unraveling this mystery together. The chase drags him deeper into the night, the fog thickening until it's like swimming through smoke. He spots an old, abandoned stretch of road ahead, its cracked pavement swallowed by weeds, and a plan sparks. If he can't outrun it, maybe he can outsmart it. He veers toward the ruins, weaving through rusted hulks of forgotten cars, forcing the ghost to follow. It does. Relentless, its frame scraping against the wreckage with a shriek that sets his teeth on edge. He slams the brakes, spins the wheel, and sends his cruiser skidding into a narrow gap between two derelict trucks. The ghost car screeches to a halt, too wide to squeeze through, its lights flaring in frustration. Carl exhales, sweat stinging his eyes. A small victory, but he knows it won't last. That voice crackles through the radio again, sharper now. You can't hide from it. Hide from what? His hands tremble, not from fear, but from something clawing its way up from the depths of his mind. The visions hit harder, a crash, flames licking the sky, a guilt he's buried under years of silence. He shakes his head, refusing to let it take hold. This thing wants to break him, but he's not going down without a fight. He scrambles out of the car, grabbing a crowbar from the trunk. If bullets won't stop it, maybe raw force will. He steps into the open, fog swirling around him, and stares down the glowing red eyes of the machine. It revs, a sound that rattles his bones, and he raises the crowbar like a soldier lifting a blade. The ghost car lunges, and Carl swings, metal clanging against metal in a shower of sparks. It pulls back, then charges again, faster, forcing him to leap aside as it smashes into the truck behind him. Steel crumples, but the car doesn't stop. It pivots, tires smoking, and comes for him again. He's not just battling a vehicle now, he's wrestling with whatever's inside it, a presence that digs into his skull, whispering truths he's not ready to face. The road becomes a blur of motion and sound, roaring engine, crunching gravel, his own ragged shouts. He stumbles, catches himself, and keeps moving, adrenaline surging. The fog presses in, the lights pulse, and that voice won't quit, threading through the chaos. You know what you did. What did he do? The question burns, but he shoves it down. He's got no time for doubt, not when this thing's bearing down on him like a freight train. He spots a rusted fuel tank, half buried in the weeds, an idea flickering to life. He sprints toward it, the car hot on his heels, and swings the crowbar with everything he's got. The tank ruptures, gasoline spilling across the ground in a dark, shimmering pool. He fumbles for a flare, strikes it, and tosses it into the mess just as the car races over it. Flames erupt, swallowing the machine in a blazing inferno. For a moment it's still wreathed in fire, and Carl dares to hope he's won. Then it rolls forward, burning but unbroken, its frame glowing like molten steel. He backs away, chest heaving, as the car emerges from the blaze, its paint peeling away to reveal something beneath. Not just metal, but a shape that shifts, almost human, trapped within. The air grows heavy, the fog tightening like a noose, and those red lights lock onto him, unblinking. He's not sure what he's fighting anymore, a car, a spirit, or a piece of himself he's refused to see. The engine growls low, a promise of more to come, and Carl steadies himself, crowbar slick with sweat in his hand. This isn't over, not by a long shot. The night stretches on, the road ahead vanishing into the mist, and whatever's driving that car isn't done with him yet. The chase twists deeper into the unknown, Carl's every move shadowed by the relentless hum of that engine. He's running on fumes now, both his car and his body, but giving up isn't in his blood. The fog swirls thicker, distorting distance and time until the world feels like an endless loop of asphalt and dread. Those visions keep coming, sharper now, cutting through the haze of exhaustion. A woman's voice pleading, a child's cry abruptly silenced, the screech of brakes he can't unhear. He slams his fist against the dashboard, forcing the memories back, but they cling like damp rot. The car's taunting him, dragging these ghosts to the surface, and he's starting to wonder if it's after more than his life. He swerves onto a bridge, its wooden planks groaning under the weight of his cruiser. The ghost car follows, its tires thudding like a heartbeat, and he catches a glimpse of it in the mirror, its hood warped, almost grinning. He floors it, aiming for the other side, but the bridge trembles, old and frail. An idea sparks. He could collapse it, trap the thing below. He slams the brakes, leaps out, and jams the crowbar into a rotting beam, prying with all his strength. The wood splinters, the structure buckles, and the car races toward him too fast to stop. The bridge gives way, planks tumbling into the ravine below, and the ghost car plunges with them, its lights swallowed by the dark. Carl peers over the edge, chest tight, waiting for the crash. It doesn't come. Silence stretches, then a low rumble rises from the depths. Red lights flicker back to life, climbing the ravine's steep walls, and the car emerges, battered but whole, clawing its way up like a beast from a nightmare. He staggers back, disbelief warring with resolve. This thing won't die, not by fire, not by force. It's tied to something bigger, something he's still blind to, and it's pulling him along for the ride whether he likes it or not. He scrambles back to his cruiser, the engine coughing as he pushes it past its limits. The ghost car's gaining, its presence heavier now, pressing against his mind. The radio crackles again, but this time, it's not just a whisper, it's a scream, raw and anguished, cutting off into static. His hands shake on the wheel, the visions flooding in full force. A rainy night, a car spinning out of control. His car, his hands on the wheel then too, slick with panic. He blinks hard, reality snapping back, but the weight of it lingers. Is this thing punishing him or showing him something he's too stubborn to see? The road bends toward an old junkyard, a graveyard of twisted metal and forgotten machines. Carl weaves through the maze, dodging husks of cars, the ghost hot on his tail. He spots a hydraulic press, rusted but intact, and a desperate plan forms. He lures the car closer, then bolts from his cruiser, sprinting for the controls. The ghost follows, its engine snarling, and he slams the lever down just as it rolls beneath. The press groans to life, metal screeching as it clamps down. The car thrashes, its frame buckling, but it doesn't stop. It pushes back, the press trembling under the strain. Sparks fly, and Carl watches, breath held, as the machine fights to free itself, those red lights still burning through the chaos. The press stalls, smoke billowing, and the car wrenches free, dented but alive, its growl a furious roar. Carl curses under his breath, retreating as it circles him like a shark. The junkyard's a battlefield now, littered with debris, and the echoes of that scream still ringing in his ears. He's out of tricks, out of time, but not out of fight. He grabs a jagged pipe from the ground, planting his feet, ready for whatever comes next. The car pauses, its lights pulsing, and for the first time, he feels it watching him, not just hunting, but studying. The air shifts, heavy with something unspoken, and he knows this is more than a chase. It's a reckoning, and it's only just begun. The night drags on, the fog a living thing that coils around him, blurring the line between what's real and what's clawing out of his past. The ghost car prowls the edges of the junkyard, its engine a constant drone, never letting him rest. He's battered, bruised, but his mind still sharp, piecing together fragments of the puzzle. That scream, it wasn't random, it was familiar, a sound he's carried like a scar. The visions keep hitting, relentless now. Headlights in the rain, a figure in the passenger seat, his own voice shouting over the storm. He shakes it off, but it's sticking, sinking roots into his thoughts. This thing knows him, knows what he's buried, and it's not letting go. He moves deeper into the junkyard, using the shadows of old cars for cover, the pipe still clutched tight. The ghost car circles, its lights cutting through the mist, searching. He spots a stack of barrels, their faded labels hinting at something flammable, and his pulse quickens. Another shot, another gamble. He rolls one into the open, then another, setting a trail back toward a crumbling shed. The car takes the bait, charging forward, and he lights a flare, tossing it into the mess. The barrels ignite, a chain of explosions, rocking the yard, flames licking high into the night. The car's caught in the blast, its frame twisting in the heat, and for a moment it's still engulfed. Carl watches, tense, waiting for the catch. It comes fast. The car bursts through the fire, scorched and warped, but moving, its engine a guttural snarl. It's not just surviving, it's thriving, feeding off the chaos. He retreats to the shed, slamming the door, buying seconds to think. The walls shake as the car rams them, wood splintering, and he braces himself, mind racing. The visions hit. Again, clearer now. A crash, his crash, the one he walked away from. But did he? The passenger's face flickers. Someone he loved, someone he lost, and the guilt crashes over him like a wave. He stumbles, clutching the pipe, as the door buckles and those red lights flood the space. He's cornered, but not done. The car smashes through, and he dives aside, rolling under a workbench as it tears through the shed. He scrambles up, pipe swinging, cracking its hood with a force that jars his arms. It recoils, then lunges again, and he's dodging, weaving, every move a dance with death. The radio in his pocket crackles, that voice back, softer now, almost pleading. Look at me. He freezes just for a second, and the car stops too, its lights dimming. He stares into them, and the vision locks in. Her face, her eyes, the night he couldn't save her. His breath catches, the pipe slipping in his grip. Is this thing her, or what's left of her? The moment shatters as the car revs, charging again, and he's back in the fight. Questions burning, but no time to answer. He bolts from the shed. The junkyard, a blur of fire and shadow, the car relentless behind him. He spots a crane, its arm dangling a massive hook, and sprints for it, climbing the rusted ladder as the car slams into the base. The structure sways, but he reaches the controls, swinging the hook low. The car races beneath, and he drops it, the steel slamming into its roof with a deafening crunch. It staggers, pinned for a heartbeat, but then tears free, dragging the hook in a shower of sparks. Carl leaps down, landing hard, and grabs the pipe again, facing it down. The car's battered now, its frame warped, but those lights still glow, unyielding. The fog thickens, the night endless, and he knows this isn't about winning, not yet. It's about enduring, about facing whatever this thing's dragging out of him. The engine growls, the voice whispers, and he steadies himself, ready for the next move. The chase isn't slowing, the truth isn't clear, and the road ahead stretches on, lost in the mist, pulling him deeper into a fight he can't escape. Carl stands there, chest heaving, the jagged pipe still clutched in his hands as the ghost. Car idles a few yards away, its red lights pulsing like a living thing. The junkyard's a mess of smoke and twisted metal, the air thick with the stench of burning oil and gasoline, but he barely notices. His eyes are locked on that machine, its dented hood almost smirking at him, daring him to keep going. The fog curls tighter, swallowing the edges of the world, and that whisper slithers through the radio again, soft but piercing. You can't keep running from it. His grip tightens, knuckles white. Running's not his style, but neither is losing. He takes a step forward, boots crunching on shattered glass. and the car responds, its engine revving low, a growl that vibrates through the ground. He doesn't flinch. Whatever this thing is, spirit, memory, or something darker, it's not getting the satisfaction of breaking him. He circles to the left, eyes darting for anything he can use, and spots a coil of heavy chain half buried under a wrecked pickup. An idea flickers. He's tangled worse threats than this in his day. He lunges for it, yanking the chain free, its links clanking as he drags it into the open. The car watches, headlights flaring, then charges, tires spinning up dirt and debris. Carl sidesteps, swinging the chain like a whip, and it catches the car's front bumper, wrapping tight. He plants his feet, pulling with every ounce of strength, muscles straining as the car jerks against the tension. For a second it falters, tires skidding, and he thinks he's got it pinned. Then it surges forward, dragging him off balance, and he's sliding across the ground, gravel tearing at his jacket. He twists, looping the chain around a rusted axle sticking out of the dirt, and the car lurches to a stop, tethered but thrashing like a beast on a leash. He scrambles up, panting, and grabs the pipe again, ready to smash whatever's in reach. The car strains against the chain, metal groaning, and those visions hit again, harder this time, like a punch to the gut. Rain-slicked roads, headlights, blinding, her voice screaming his name. Carl staggers, one hand clutching his head, the other gripping the pipe. It's not just a memory, it's a weight, a truth he's dodged for years. The crash, the night he lost her. He can see it now, clear as the fog around him, his hands on the wheel, the storm raging, the moment he couldn't stop the skid. His breath hitches, but he forces it down, shoving the guilt back into the dark where it belongs. Not now. Not when this thing's still moving. The chain snaps with a sharp crack, links flying and the car's free, lunging straight for him. He dives, rolling under a toppled van as it smashes through where he stood, its frame scraping the ground in. A shower of sparks. He crawls out the other side, pipe in hand, and sprints toward a pile of scrap, the car pivoting to follow. His mind's racing. Fire didn't kill it, force didn't stop it, but it's not invincible. It's tied to something, maybe to him, and he's got to figure out what before it runs him down. He climbs the scrap heap, metal shifting under his weight, and the car circles below, its engine a constant snarl, waiting for him to slip. From the top, he spots an old acetylene torch, its tank dented but full, lying amid the wreckage. He slides down, grabbing it, and fumbles with the valve, hissing gas filling the air. The car charges, and he rolls aside, striking a flare and tossing it into the gas cloud. The explosion rocks the yard, a fireball swallowing the car whole, and Carl shields his face as heat washes over him. The blast fades, and there it is again. Scorched, battered, but rolling forward, its lights cutting through the smoke. He curses, low and fierce. This thing's not just tough, it's unnatural, a force that laughs at his every move. He retreats, weaving through the junk, the car stalking behind, its presence heavier now, pressing into his skull. The visions won't stop, her face, the crash, the moment he walked away and left her behind. He stumbles, catching himself on a rusted fender, and the radio crackles. "You left me." The words cut deep and he freezes, breath ragged. Left her. He survived. That's what he did. But the guilt's there, clawing up, and he's starting to wonder if this thing's her anger, her pain, given form. He shakes his head, refusing to believe it. She wouldn't do this, would she? The car closes in, and he bolts, ducking into a narrow alley of stacked cars, its frame too wide to follow. He leans against the metal, catching his breath, mind spinning. If it's her, what does it want? Justice, revenge, or just for him to see? He pushes off, moving deeper into the maze, the car circling outside, its lights flashing through gaps like a predator's eyes. He finds a tire iron, heavier than the pipe, and swaps it out, feeling the weight in his hands. He's not done fighting, not until he understands. The ground trembles as the car rams the stack, steel buckling, and he runs, emerging into an open stretch littered with old engines and shattered glass. The car's there, waiting, its hood cracked but its spirit unbroken. He raises the tire iron, steadying himself, and it revs, a challenge he can't ignore. He charges this time, swinging hard, the iron crashing into its grill with a force that jars his bones. It recoils, then lunges, and he's dodging again, striking whenever it gets close, metal clanging against metal in a brutal rhythm. The fog swirls, the lights pulse, and that voice whispers again, "See me." He stops, mid-swing, chest tight. See her. He looks into those red lights, and the vision locks, her eyes wide with fear. The rain, the crash. His fault. He didn't mean it, didn't want it, but it happened. The tire iron slips, clattering to the ground, and the car pauses, its engine softening. For a moment, it's still, and he's staring at it, at her, the weight of years crashing down. "I'm sorry," he rasps, voice breaking, not sure if it's to her or himself. The lights dim, almost gentle, and he thinks maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it needed. Then it roars back to life, charging full force, and he's diving again, rolling across the dirt as it smashes into a stack of barrels behind him. He scrambles up, grabbing the tire iron, heart pounding. Sorry wasn't enough. Whatever's driving this, it's not done. Not with him. Not with the night. He runs, the car tearing after him, and spots a rusted tow truck, its winch still intact. He climbs in, slamming the door, and cranks the engine, praying it holds. It sputters to life, and he floors it, the ghost car gaining fast. He swings the winch hook low, aiming for its frame, and it catches, cable snapping taut as he drags it behind. The truck groans under the strain, but he keeps going, weaving through. The yard, the car thrashing against the hook. He spots a concrete pillar ahead, a remnant of some long-gone structure, and veers toward it, wrapping the cable around as he passes. The car slams into the pillar, the impact shaking the ground. And the cable holds, pinning it tight. Carl leaps out, tire iron in hand, and approaches, wary but resolute. The car's trapped, its engine growling, but it's not moving, not yet. He stares into those lights, the vision swirling, and feels the pull of something deeper, something he can't name. The fog thickens, the night stretching on, and he knows this isn't the end. The car's still alive, still tied to him, and the truth still out there, buried in the mist. He tightens his grip on the tire iron, ready for whatever comes next, as the engine rumbles and the whispers fade into the dark, leaving him standing there, caught in a chase that's far from over. Carl stands there, the tire iron heavy in his hands, his breath fogging in the cold night air as the ghost car strains against the tow truck's cable, its engine snarling like a caged animal. The concrete pillar trembles under the force, cracks spiderwebbing up its surface, but it holds for now. The junkyard's a battlefield of shadows and wreckage, the thick mist weaving through the twisted metal like a shroud, and those red lights bore into him, unblinking, relentless. He wipes sweat from his brow, the sting of it mixing with the ache in his bones, but he doesn't back down. He's been through hell before. War taught him how to stand when everything else falls apart. And this thing, whatever it is, isn't going to be the one to break him. The cable creaks, metal grinding against metal, and he takes a step closer, eyes narrowing. The car's frame is battered, dents and scorch marks crisscrossing its rusted hull, but it's still alive, still fighting, and he can feel its presence crawling under his skin. That whisper cuts through the static of his radio again, low and insistent. You can't bury it forever. His jaw tightens, teeth grinding. Bury what? The visions flash, rain-soaked asphalt, her face twisted. In panic, the sickening crunch of metal on metal, and he forces them back, shoving them into the dark corners of his mind. He's not ready to face that, not yet, not while this thing's still moving. He circles the trapped car, keeping his distance, the tire iron raised like a shield. The fog swirls thicker, distorting the edges of the junkyard until it feels like he's trapped in a dream, one he can't wake up from. The car jerks against the cable, its tires spinning uselessly, kicking up clouds of dust and gravel that sting his eyes. He squints through the haze, searching for a weak spot, something he can use. Fire didn't stop it, force barely slowed it, but there's got to be a way. His mind races, pulling from years of combat training. Outlast, outthink, overcome. This isn't just a machine, it's a force, a will, and he's starting to suspect it's tied to him in ways he can't yet untangle. The pillar groans, a deep, mournful sound, and he knows he's running out of time. He darts toward a pile of scrap nearby, rummaging through. The debris, old car parts, shattered glass, a bent crowbar, until his hand closes around a length of rebar, sharp and sturdy. He hefts it, testing its weight, and turns back to the car just as the cable snaps with a whip-like crack, sending the tow truck lurching forward. The ghost car's free, its engine roaring triumphant, and it barrels toward him, headlights blazing like twin suns. He dives, rolling across the dirt as it smashes into the scrap pile, steel crumpling in a deafening crash. Carl's up in an instant, rebar in one hand, tire iron in the other, his pulse hammering. The car pivots, its frame groaning as it realigns, and charges again, relentless. He sidesteps, swinging the rebar hard, the metal clanging against its hood with a force that reverberates up his arm. It swerves, then comes back, faster, and he's dodging, weaving, striking whenever it gets close. Rebar to the grill, tire iron to the side, sparks flying with every hit. The fog closes in, the world shrinking to just him and this thing, a brutal dance of man and machine under the weight of a night that refuses to end. His breath's ragged now, legs burning, but he keeps moving, keeps fighting. The visions hit. Again, her voice sharp and desperate, calling his name through the storm, and he stumbles, catching himself on a rusted fender. The car pauses, its lights dimming, almost thoughtful, and he stares into them, chest tight. "What do you want?" he rasps, voice raw, not expecting an answer. The radio crackles. You know. He doesn't, not fully, but the guilt's there, heavy and unyielding, a shadow he's carried since that night. The crash, her scream, the moment he walked away, leaving her behind in the wreckage. He shakes his head, pushing it down, and the car revs, lunging again. He rolls under a toppled chassis, the car's tires screeching inches from his head, and scrambles out the other side, rebar still in hand. He's not giving in, not to this thing, not to the past. He spots an old propane tank half buried in the weeds, its surface pitted with rust but intact, and a plan sparks. He sprints for it, the car hot on his heels, and pries the valve open. With the tire iron, gas hissing into the air. He grabs a flare from his belt, strikes it and tosses it into the cloud just as the car races through. The explosion lights up the night, a roaring fireball that swallows the machine whole, and Carl shields his eyes, heat searing his skin. The flames die down, and there it is, emerging from the inferno, its frame glowing red-hot, paint peeling. A way to reveal something beneath, something that shifts like a shadow trapped in steel. He backs away, rebar raised as the car rolls forward, slow and deliberate, its engine a low, menacing hum. It's not just surviving, it's adapting, growing stronger, and he's starting to feel the weight of something bigger, something he can't outrun. The visions flood back, her eyes wide with fear, the rain, his hands slipping on the wheel, and he grits his teeth, refusing to let them take hold. Not now, not when he's still in this fight. He retreats deeper into the junkyard, the fog, a living thing that clings to him, muffling sound and sight. The car follows, its lights cutting through the haze, a constant presence he can't shake. He ducks behind a stack of tires, catching his breath, mind racing. If this thing's tied to her, to that night, maybe it's not just about destruction. Maybe it's about forcing him to see. But see what? The guilt's there, gnawing at him, but there's more, something he's missing, a piece of the puzzle buried under years of silence. He peers out, watching the car prowl the edges, its engine a steady drone. and knows he's got to keep moving. He slips through the shadows, rebar clutched tight, and spots a rusted crane, its arm dangling a heavy steel beam. He climbs the ladder, the metal creaking under his weight, and reaches the controls as the car circles below, its headlights tracking him like a hunter. He swings the beam low, aiming for its roof, and drops it, the steel crashing down with a thunderous boom. The car staggers, pinned for a moment, its frame buckling, but then it wrenches free, dragging the beam in a shower of sparks, its growl a furious roar. Carl curses, leaping down, and grabs the rebar again, facing it head-on. The car charges, and he swings, the rebar slamming into its grille, metal screeching against metal. It recoils, then lunges again, and he's dodging, striking, every move. A test of will. The fog swirls, the lights pulse, and that voice whispers again, "You can't undo it." Undo what? The crash, the loss. He's not sure, but the weight of it's crushing, and he's starting to wonder if this thing's more than just vengeance, if it's a mirror, reflecting something he's refused to face. He stumbles, catching himself, and the car pauses, its lights softening, almost mournful. For a heartbeat, he's still, staring into them, and the vision locks. Her face, the rain, the moment he failed her. "I tried," he mutters, voice breaking, the rebar slipping in his grip. The lights dim, the engine quiets, and he thinks maybe that's it. Maybe it's heard him. Then it roars back to life, charging full force, and he's diving again, rolling across the dirt as it smashes into a stack of crates behind him. He's up in an instant, rebar in hand, heart pounding. Trying wasn't enough, whatever's driving. It's not satisfied, not yet. He runs, the car tearing after him, and spots an old flatbed truck, its bed loaded with scrap. He climbs aboard, cranking the engine, and it sputters to life, coughing black smoke. He floors it, the car gaining fast, and swings the wheel, sending the truck skidding toward a narrow gap between two stacks of cars. The ghost car follows, too wide to fit, and slams into the stacks, steel crumpling as it forces its way through. Carl leaps from the cab, rolling to the ground, and grabs a length of chain from the flatbed, looping it around a nearby axle as the car emerges, battered but unbroken. He pulls tight, the chain snapping taut, and the car jerks against it. Tires spinning. It's trapped again, but he knows it won't hold long. He steps back, rebar raised, watching those lights flare, the engine snarling. The visions hit, her scream, the storm, his hands on the wheel, and he feels the pull, the connection. Stronger now. This isn't just about her, it's about him, about what he's carried, what he's ignored. The chain groans, the car thrashes, and he steadies himself, ready for the next move. The fog thickens, the night endless, and he knows this fight's far from over, pulling him deeper into a reckoning he can't escape. The junkyard fades into a haze, the cars growl a constant pulse, and Carl moves again, slipping through the shadows, the rebar a lifeline in his grip. He's tired, bone-deep tired, but surrender's not an option. The car breaks free, the chain clattering to the ground, and it's after him again, relentless. Its lights cutting through the mist like knives. He ducks behind a rusted bus, its windows shattered, and peers out, watching it prowl. His mind's a storm of questions. Why him? Why now? What does it want? But the answers are out there, tangled in the night, and he's got to keep going to find them. He spots a stack of oil drums, their sides slick with grime, and rolls one into the open, then another, setting a trail back toward the bus. The car takes the bait, charging forward, and he strikes a flare, tossing it into the mess. The drums ignite, a chain of explosions rocking the yard, flames licking high into the fog. The car's caught in the blast, its frame twisting in the heat, and for a moment it's still engulfed. Carl watches, tense, waiting for the inevitable. It comes fast. The car bursts through the fire, scorched and warped but moving, its engine a guttural snarl. He retreats, the bus shaking as it rams the side, and he bolts, weaving through the wreckage, the car hot on his heels. The chase drags on, the night stretching into something endless, and he's running on instinct now, every step a defiance of the exhaustion creeping in. The visions keep coming, her face, the crash, the guilt, and he's starting to see more. A child's toy in the back seat, a voice he can't place, a moment he's buried so deep it's like it never happened. He stumbles, catching himself, on a rusted hood, and the radio crackles. "You forgot." Forgot what? His chest tightens, the weight of it suffocating, but he pushes forward, refusing to let it stop him. The car's close, its lights flaring, and he knows he's got to keep moving, keep fighting, until the pieces fall into place. He spots a derelict trailer, its walls sagging, and ducks inside, the car circling outside, its engine a low rumble. The air's thick with dust and decay, but he finds a moment to breathe, to think. If this thing's her or part of her, what's it after? Revenge? Redemption? Or just for him to remember? He leans against the wall, rebar in hand, and the trailer shakes as the car rams it, metal buckling. He braces himself, mind racing, and spots a trapdoor in the floor, rusted but intact. He pries it open, dropping into the dark below, and lands in a crawl space littered with old tools and debris. The car prowls above, its tires thudding, and he moves, crawling through the muck, the rebar dragging behind. He finds a hatch, kicks it open, and emerges behind the trailer, the fog swallowing him whole. The car's still searching, its lights sweeping the yard, and he uses the cover, slipping toward a rusted water tank, its base cracked but solid. He climbs inside, the metal cold against his skin, and waits, listening as the car closes in. It stops, its engine idling, and he holds his breath, the silence heavier than the noise. The radio crackles again, her voice clear now. "Look at me." He peers through a crack in the tank, meeting those red lights, and the vision hits. Her face, the child's, the night he lost them both. His fault, his failure. He grips the rebar, throat tight, and whispers, "I see you." The lights soften, the engine quiets, and for a moment he thinks it's over. Then it roars, slamming into the tank, and he's thrown back, the metal crumpling around him. He scrambles out, rebar swinging, and the car's there waiting, its frame warped but its will unbroken. He charges, striking hard, the rebar clanging against its hood, and it retaliates, forcing him back. The fog swirls, the night endless, and he's fighting not just the car, but the truth it's dragging out of him. Her, the child, the crash he survived, but they didn't. He's not sure what's real anymore, but he knows he can't stop. The car lunges, he dodges, and the chase pulls him deeper. The junkyard fading into the mist, the answers still out there, waiting in the dark. Carl crouches in the damp muck of the crawl space beneath the trailer, the rebar clutched tight in his dirt-streaked hands, his breath shallow and uneven as the ghost car prowls overhead, its tires rumbling across the warped floorboards with a sound that reverberates through his chest like a drumbeat. The junkyard's a labyrinth of fog and wreckage, the air thick with the acrid tang of burnt rubber and gasoline, and those red lights sweep through the gloom outside, relentless, searching, piercing the haze like twin beacons of malice. His muscles ache, his jacket's torn at the shoulder where he's scraped against jagged metal, and sweat stings the cuts on his knuckles, but he doesn't let it slow him down. He's been through worse. War zones where the ground shook with mortar fire, nights where survival hinged on a single breath held too long, and this thing, this unnatural beast of steel and vengeance, isn't going to be the one to take him out. The trailer creaks above, dust sifting down through the cracks, and he shifts, inching along the crawl space, the cold seeping into his bones as he drags the rebar through the grime. The car's engine growls, a low guttural sound that vibrates the air, and he can feel its presence pressing against him, not just physically, but deeper, worming into his thoughts, stirring up shadows he's kept buried for years. That whisper crackles through the radio clipped to his belt, sharp and cold. You can't hide from what's yours. His jaw clenches, teeth grinding against the words. Hide. He's not hiding. He's surviving, waiting for the right moment to strike. Back. But the doubt's there, gnawing at him, and the visions hit again, rain slashing across a windshield, her voice pleading through the storm, the sickening lurch as the car spun out of control. He shakes his head, forcing the images back, his free hand digging into the dirt to steady himself. The crawl space is tight, the walls brushing his shoulders, and the air's heavy with the stench of rot and oil. But he keeps moving, eyes locked on the faint outline of the hatch ahead. The car circles, its tires crunching gravel outside, and he knows it's only a matter of time before it finds him. He reaches the hatch, rusted hinges groaning as he pries it open with the rebar, and drops into the open air, landing hard on the junkyard's uneven ground. The fog swirls around him, thick and disorienting, swallowing sound and sight, but he's up in an instant, rebar in hand, scanning the shadows for those telltale lights. They flare to life a dozen yards away, cutting through the mist like a blade, and the car rolls forward, slow and deliberate, its engine a steady hum that sets his nerves on edge. He doesn't wait. Instinct kicks in, honed by years of combat, and he bolts, weaving through the wreckage, boots pounding against cracked asphalt and twisted steel. The car follows, picking up speed, its frame battered but unyielding, dense, and scorch marks painting a story of every trap he's thrown at it, every desperate move he's made. He ducks behind a stack of tires, their rubber slick with dew, and peers out, watching it glide past, its headlights sweeping the yard like a predator sniffing out prey. His chest heaves, breath fogging in the cold, and he grips the rebar tighter. Mind racing. Fire didn't kill it. Flames that should have melted steel only seemed to piss it off. Force didn't stop it. The crane, the tow truck, the explosions all just slowed it down. He's running out of options, but giving up isn't in his blood. He's a soldier, a cop, a man who stared down death and walked away. And this thing, whatever it is, spirit, memory, or something darker, isn't going to rewrite that story. He slips out from behind the tires, moving low, the fog cloaking his steps as he heads for a rusted water tank, half buried in the weeds, its curved surface glinting faintly in the dim light. The car's engine revs, a sudden burst of sound that echoes through the yard, and he freezes, ducking behind a toppled engine block as it swings around, headlights flaring. It knows he's here, somehow it always knows, and he can feel its gaze, not just mechanical but alive, watching him with an intelligence that chills his blood. He waits, counting the seconds until it rolls past, then sprints for the tank, climbing inside through a jagged hole in its side. The metal's cold and slick, the air inside stale and damp, but its cover, a moment to breathe, to think. He crouches low, peering through the crack, and sees those lights circling, relentless, never stopping. The radio crackles again, her voice cutting through the static, soft but piercing. You left us. Us. The word hits like a fist, and the visions flood back. Her face, pale and frantic, the child's toy rolling across the back seat, the rain hammering down as the car skidded, flipped, crashed. His breath catches, a sharp pain stabbing through his chest, and he grips the rebar so hard his knuckles ache. Us, not just her. There was someone else, a piece of the night he's blocked, out a loss he's refused to name. The guilt's there, raw and unyielding, a wound he's carried without knowing its shape, and he's starting to see it now, starting to feel the edges of a truth he's buried under years of silence. The tank shakes as the car rams it, metal, buckling with a groan, and he braces himself, the rebar scraping against the floor. The impact throws him back, his shoulder slamming into the curved wall, but he's up fast, adrenaline surging, and scrambles out through the hole as the car pulls back for another hit. He lands in the dirt, rolling to his feet, and swings the rebar hard, catching its grill as it lunges again. The clang echoes through the fog, sparks flying, and it recoils, but only for a moment. It's back in an instant, forcing him to dodge, weaving through the yard as it chases, its engine a constant roar that drowns out his ragged breaths. He's moving on instinct now, legs burning, lungs screaming, but he doesn't stop, can't stop. The junkyard's a blur of shadows and steel, the fog pressing in until it's like he's running through a nightmare, every step pulling him deeper into the chase. He spots a stack of oil drums, their sides dented and leaking, and rolls one into the open, then another, then a third, setting a trail back toward a rusted bus he passed earlier. The car takes the bait, charging forward, its tires screeching, and he strikes a flare, tossing it into the slick puddle forming beneath the drums. The explosion rocks the night, a chain of fireballs lighting up the fog in a blinding orange glow, and the car's swallowed whole, its frame twisting in the heat. Carl shields his face, the blast wave knocking him back, and watches as the flames roar, hoping, praying. This time it's enough. The fire fades, smoke curling into the mist, and there it is again, emerging from the inferno, its paint peeling away in blackened strips, its frame glowing like molten steel, but still moving, still alive. He curses, low and fierce, and retreats, the bus looming behind him as the car rolls forward, slow and deliberate, its lights locking onto him like a hunter's stare. He ducks inside the bus, its shattered windows gaping like empty eyes, and crouches low, catching his breath, the rebar slick with sweat in his hands. The car circles outside, its engine a steady drone, and he peers through a crack in the metal, watching it prowl. His mind spinning, fire, force, traps, nothing's working, but there's something else, something deeper. The visions keep coming. Her scream, the child's cry, the moment he crawled from the wreck and left them behind, and he's starting to piece it together, starting to feel the shape of a night he's run from for too long. The radio crackles. You can't outrun us. Us. Her and the child, his family, his failure, his ghosts. He grips the rebar, throat tight, and mutters, "I didn't mean to." The words hang in the air, hollow and heavy, and the car pauses, its lights dimming, almost listening. For a moment, it's still, the fog swirling around it, and he thinks maybe that's it. Maybe it's heard him. Maybe it's enough. Then it roars back to life, slamming into the bus with a force that shakes the frame, and he's thrown back, crashing into a row of torn seats. He scrambles up, rebar swinging, and bolts for the rear exit as the car pulls back, its engine snarling. He leaps out, landing hard, and runs, the fog swallowing him whole, the car tearing after him with a vengeance that feels personal, intimate, like it's not just chasing him, but dragging him back to that night, forcing him to relive every second. He weaves through the yard, dodging husks of cars and piles of scrap, his boots slipping on wet metal as the car gains, its headlights flaring behind him. He spots a rusted crane, its arm dangling a heavy steel hook, and sprints for it, climbing the ladder with aching arms, the metal creaking under his weight. The car rams the base, the structure swaying, but he reaches the controls, swinging the hook low as it circles below. He drops it, the steel crashing into its roof with a deafening crunch, and the car staggers, pinned for a heartbeat, its frame buckling under the weight, but then it wrenches free, dragging the hook in a shower of sparks, its growl a furious roar that echoes through the night. Carl leaps down, landing in a crouch, and grabs the rebar again, facing it head-on. The car's battered now, dents crisscrossing its hood, scorch marks blackening its sides, but those lights still glow, unyielding, and he can feel its will, its anger, pressing against him. He charges, swinging hard, the rebar clanging against its grill, and it retaliates, forcing him back, tires screeching as it lunges again. He dodges, striking whenever it gets close, rebar to the hood, to the side, to the bumper, every hit a defiance of the exhaustion clawing at him, every move a refusal to let it win. The fog swirls, the lights pulse, and that voice whispers again, "You left us to die, die." The word cuts deep and he stumbles, catching himself on a rusted fender, the visions flooding back. Her face, the child's, the rain, the crash, the moment he pulled himself free and didn't look back. His chest tightens, guilt crashing over him like a wave, and he grips the rebar, rasping, "I didn't know." Didn't know what? That they were still alive? That he could have saved them? The car pauses, its light softening, and he stares into them, searching for answers, for forgiveness, for something to make sense of the weight he's carried. The moment shatters as it roars, charging full force, and he's diving again, rolling across the dirt as it smashes into a stack of crates. Behind him, wood splintering in a cloud of dust. He's up fast, rebar in hand, heart pounding, and runs, the car tearing after him with a speed that defies its broken frame. He spots an old flatbed truck, its bed loaded with scrap, and climbs aboard, slamming the door as he cranks the engine. It sputters to life, coughing black smoke, and he floors it, the car gaining fast, its lights flaring in the rear-view mirror like a nightmare closing in. He swings the wheel, sending the truck skidding toward a narrow gap between two stacks of cars, the ghost car following, too wide to fit. It slams into the stacks, steel crumpling as it forces its way through, and Carl leaps from the cab, rolling to the ground, grabbing a length of chain from the flatbed. He loops it around a nearby axle, pulling tight as the car emerges, battered but unbroken, its engine a guttural snarl. The chain snaps taut, the car jerking against it, and he steps back, rebar raised, watching those lights flare, the fog thickening around them like a living thing. The visions hit again, her scream, the child's cry, the storm raging, and he feels the pull, the connection stronger now. This isn't just about her or the child, it's about him, about what he's done, what he's refused to face. The chain groans, the car thrashes, and he steadies himself, ready for the next move, the next strike, the next piece of the truth. The fog presses in, the night stretches on, and he knows this fight's far from over, pulling him deeper into a reckoning he can't escape, a chase that's as much about survival as it is about understanding. The junkyard fades into a haze. The cars growl, a constant pulse, and Carl moves again, slipping through the shadows, the rebar a lifeline in his grip. He's tired, every muscle screaming, every breath a battle, but surrender's not an option, not when there's still something left to fight for. The car breaks free, the chain clattering to the ground, and it's after him again, relentless. Its lights cutting through the mist like knives. He ducks behind a rusted bus, its windows shattered, and peers out, watching it prowl, its frame warped, but its will unbroken. His mind's a storm of questions. Why him? Why now? What does it want? But the answers are out there, tangled in the night, and he's got to keep going to find them. He spots a stack of oil drums, their sides slick with grime and rolled. One into the open, then another, then a third, setting a trail back toward the bus. The car takes the bait, charging forward, its tires screeching, and he strikes a flare, tossing it into the slick puddle forming beneath the drums. The explosion lights up the fog, a chain of fireballs roaring through the yard, and the car's caught in the blast, its frame twisting in the heat. He watches, tense, waiting for the inevitable. It comes fast. The car bursts through the fire, scorched and warped but moving, its engine a guttural snarl. He retreats, the bus shaking as it rams the side, and he bolts, weaving through the wreckage, the car hot on his heels. The chase drags on. the night stretching into something endless. And he's running on instinct now, every step a defiance of the exhaustion creeping in. The visions keep coming, her face, the child's, the guilt, and he's starting to see more. A voice he can't place, a moment he's buried so deep it's like it never happened. He stumbles, catching himself on a rusted hood, and the radio. Crackle. You forgot us. Forgot. His chest tightens, the weight of it suffocating, but he pushes forward, refusing to let it stop him. The car's close, its lights flaring, and he knows he's got to keep moving, keep fighting, until the pieces fall into place. He spots a derelict trailer, its walls sagging, and ducks inside, the car circling outside, its engine a low rumble. The air's thick with dust and decay, but he finds a moment to breathe, to think, the rebar still clutched tight. The trailer shakes as the car rams it, metal buckling, and he braces himself, mind racing. If this thing's them, her, the child, what's it after? Revenge? Redemption? Or just for him to remember? He spots a trapdoor in the floor, rusted but intact, and pries it open, dropping into the dark below, landing in a crawl space littered with old tools and debris. The car prowls above, its tires thudding, and he moves, crawling through the muck, the rebar dragging behind. He finds a hatch, kicks it open, and emerges behind the trailer, the fog swallowing him whole. The car's still searching, its lights sweeping the yard, and he uses the cover, slipping toward a rusted water tank, its base cracked but solid. He climbs inside, the metal cold against his skin, and waits, listening, as the car closes in. It stops, its engine idling, and he holds his breath, the silence heavier than the noise. The radio crackles again, her voice clear now. Look at us. He peers through a crack in the tank, meeting those red lights, and the vision hits. Her face, the child's, the night he lost them both. His fault, his failure. He grips the rebar, throat tight, and whispers, I see you. The lights soften, the engine quiets, and for a moment he thinks it's over. Then it roars, slamming into the tank, and he's thrown back, the metal crumpling around him. He scrambles out, rebar swinging, and the car's there waiting, its frame warped, but its will unbroken. He charges, striking hard, the rebar clanging against its hood, and it retaliates, forcing him back. The fog swirls, the night endless, and he's fighting not just the car, but the truth it's dragging out of him. Her, the child, the crash he survived, but they didn't. He's not sure what's real anymore, but he knows he can't stop. The car lunges, he dodges, and the chase pulls him deeper, the junkyard fading into the mist. The answer's still out there, waiting in the dark. He runs, legs trembling, lungs burning, but he keeps going. The car's growl, a constant shadow at his back. The fog's a living thing now, curling around him, muffling the world until it's just him and this relentless machine. Locked in a battle that's as much about the past as it is about the present. He spots a pile of scrap, old car doors, twisted fenders, a cracked engine block, and dives behind it, catching his breath, the rebar slick with sweat and grime. The car circles, its lights sweeping the yard, and he watches, waiting, planning his next move. His mind's a tangle of memories and questions, her voice, the child's cry, the rain-slicked road, and he's starting to see more, starting to feel the edges of something bigger. He didn't just survive that crash. He walked away, left them, buried it so deep he could pretend it never happened. But it did, and this thing, this ghost, isn't letting him forget. The radio crackles. You can't erase us. Erase. He didn't, did he? The guilt's there, sharp and jagged, and he grips the rebar, muttering, I didn't mean to. The words feel empty, but they're all he's got. And the car pauses, its lights dimming, almost considering. Then it charges, smashing through the scrap pile, and he's rolling again, dodging as debris rains down around him. He's up fast, rebar swinging, catching its bumper with a force that jars his arms, and it recoils, but only for a moment. It's back, relentless, forcing him to run again. He weaves through the yard, the fog thickening, the night stretching. On and spots a rusted forklift, its tines bent but solid. He climbs aboard, cranking the engine, and it sputters to life, the car closing in fast. He swings the tines low, aiming for its grill, and rams it head-on, metal screeching as the forklift lurches under the impact. The car pushes back, its engine roaring, and the forklift's tires spin, digging into the dirt. Carl holds the controls, tight, pushing with everything he's got, the tines scraping against its hood, sparks flying. For a moment, it's a stalemate, man and machine locked in a test of will, but then the car surges, shoving the forklift back, and he leaps clear. As it tips, crashing to the ground in a heap of twisted steel, he grabs the rebar, facing it down, the fog swirling around them, the lights pulsing like a heartbeat. The visions hit her face, the child's, the crash, and he feels the weight of it. The truth he's dodged for years. He didn't just lose them, he left them, walked away, buried it under silence and scars. The car pauses, its engine softening, and he stares into those lights, chest tight. "I'm sorry," he rasps, voice breaking, the rebar trembling in his grip. The lights dim, the fog thickens, and for a heartbeat he thinks it's enough. Then it roars, charging again, and he's diving, rolling, fighting, the chase pulling him deeper into the night. The truth still out there, waiting to be faced. Carl stands there, chest heaving, the rebar trembling in his sweat-slicked hands. As the ghost car idles a few yards away, its red lights pulsing through the thickening fog like the heartbeat of something alive and vengeful. The junkyard's a graveyard of twisted steel and shattered dreams, the air heavy with the stench of gasoline and regret, and he's exhausted, every muscle screaming, every breath a jagged fight against the weight pressing down on him. His eyes lock onto those lights, unblinking, relentless, and the visions crash over him again, her face pale and pleading, the child's wide eyes staring from the back seat, the rain-slicked road spinning out of control under his hands. The guilt's a living thing now, clawing up from the depths, and he can't shake it, can't outrun it, not anymore. The car's engine revs, a low growl that rattles the ground beneath his boots, and he takes a step back, the rebar slipping slightly in his grip, his resolve fraying at the edges. He's fought it all night, fire, steel, traps, pushing every ounce of his military-honed strength into a battle he's starting to realize he can't win. The fog swirls tighter, the world shrinking to just him and this relentless machine. This ghost of a past he's buried under years of silence and scars. That whisper cuts through the radio again, sharp and final. "You can't change it." His throat tightens, the words slicing deeper than any blade, and he knows it's true. He can't undo the crash, can't bring them back, can't erase the moment he crawled from the wreckage and left them behind. He steadies himself, raising the rebar like a soldier facing the inevitable, but his hands shake, his legs falter, and the car moves, slow. At first, deliberate, then faster, its tires chewing the dirt as it barrels toward him. The lights flare, blinding, and he sees them clearly now. Her, the child, their faces etched in the glow, accusing, pleading, lost. "I'm sorry," he rasps, voice breaking, the words spilling out like a confession too late to matter. He wants to run, to fight, to do anything but stand there. But the guilt anchors him, roots him to the spot, and he's frozen, a man caught in the wreckage of his own making. The car closes the distance, its engine roaring a final triumphant snarl, and he doesn't move, can't move, as it slams into him with a force that shatters the night. Metal meets flesh in a sickening crunch, the rebar flying from his hands, clattering uselessly against the ground as he's thrown, body twisting in the air like a rag doll. He hits the dirt hard, rolling across the junkyard in a tangle of limbs and blood, the fog rushing in to cradle his broken form. Pain flares, then fades, his vision blurring as the world tilts, the red lights dimming in the distance, the car's growl softening into an eerie hum that echoes through the mist. He lies there, sprawled among the rusted husks, breath shallow and ragged, the cold seeping into his bones as the life drains out of him. The fog thickens, swallowing him whole, and the last thing he hears is her voice, soft, mournful, final, whispering through the static, "You left us." The car rolls away, its lights flickering out, its purpose fulfilled, leaving Carl alone in the dark. A tragic end to a chase he could never escape. A man undone by the ghost he couldn't face until they claimed him completely. The night falls, silent, the junkyard still, and the story closes on a broken hero lost to the weight of his own past. Carl faced the ghost car spirit to the end, but the price of truth was higher than he imagined. The night swallowed his secrets, but is this really the end of the road? If that supernatural tension gripped you, there's more waiting. Just one click away, another dark tale packed with mystery and adrenaline. Don't resist. Dive into the next chase that'll leave you breathless right now.